Here's a little picture I whipped up quite some time ago, brothers and sisters, of Luffy, and I don't know what he's looking at. Maybe he's looking at his hand, maybe he's looking at a chicken McNugget that he's holding in his hand. Maybe he's got a booger, I don't know. But if you like this and more, remember to follow me on all the social networks.
Chapter 147 of One Piece this is. Frauds, they are.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, and you can just not get rid of me at this point, am Jim, here to bring you another chapter review on the awesome and epic and action-packed and just comedic tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with it really just kind of starting this volume out with a bang. There was, of course, the entire chapter was based on just the fight between Wapol and his minions and Luffy and Sanji and Chopper up at the top of the mountain. So that's where we kind of left off with Wapol getting knocked on his ass and then him going, "I'm going to show you the full power of the Munch Munch fruit," and he went, "Munch Munch Factory," and then that was the end of the chapter. So this chapter starts out back down at the bottom of the mountain, and if you remember from a few chapters ago, Zoro had to just beat the living shit out of everybody, so all of Wapol's men anyway, so the villagers could dig Dalton out from the avalanche, and they had said that his heart had stopped. So we come to find out that his heart didn't stop, he was just frozen, basically. He just got, like, I don't know, it just quick froze, I guess, like a frostbite type of deal. But either way, his heart had stopped, at least temporarily. But as we know in One Piece, that doesn't mean permanent death in any way, shape, or form. So all of a sudden, the Ishii 20, the 20 doctors, they appear and they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I just picture them like little minions from like Despicable Me, and they're just like, oh, get out of our way, we need to help him. And they're like, whoa, 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 especially Usopp. He's like, wait, aren't these the evil doctors that work for Wapol? And they're like, listen, we first of all, we're doctors, so we made an oath to help people and to cure people. But they have an allegiance still to Dalton. They're like, listen, we just have to do what the king tells us. Okay, we came up with some good research over here, so as a doctor, we were able to further that. But we were made to work and do this and selectively treat whoever the king wanted to because he's an asshole. So that's what they say. So just move out of the way and let us do our job. And then they also go and they make a mention of Hiruluk and, of course, what he did 6 years ago and kind of being a patriot to the country and him giving them belief in what they do. So they go to, to help Dalton, and so we see that whole exchange. And it then goes back up onto the mountain, and we're like, okay, this is great. Now we're going to get to see this. So Wapol goes, and he's like, "What did I have for breakfast this morning, Chess?" And Chess is like, "Oh, you had a cannon and a this and all this like just goofy random shit. And then you ate a house when you were in Bighorn." And Luffy's like, "That doesn't sound good at all." And Sanji's like, "Not healthy eating at all." So all of a sudden he goes and I mean, only Oda could imagine and dream and create these type of things. All of a sudden he's just like, we'll see the full power of my transformative powers of the Munch Munch fruit. And you can see that from this, whatever he eats, he can actually transform into or kind of like regurgitate in his own special way, because he then goes and turns into this giant, like, Wapol with cannon arms house. And it actually says Wapol House. And whether that's just sort of a word play for like Waffle House, which is a fairly, big morning diner type breakfast eatery here in the States, I just thought it was comical because when I see this picture, I see him go, Wapol House, So... So he's not done yet. Wait, people, there's more. He then goes, and there's obviously there's some him just being big and bad now, and I can do whatever I want. But he goes and he then shortly after that goes and actually eats Chess and Kuromarimo, right? His two minions, his subordinates, the Afro man and the guy that looks like a jester. He eats them, and they're like, "What? He's eating his own men?" And Luffy's like, "Cannibal!" So he's munching them up. While this is all happening, it goes and it does go at some point during this whole battle. It goes back down to the village Bighorn, and we see that Dalton has gotten up. He's still weak, but he's just he wants to fight. He's raring to go, man. You know what I mean? Now that the heart's beating, the blood's flowing again. He's just like, we have to fight, And they're like, no, you're injured. And he's like, this is our only chance to fight, and if we do not fight back and rise up now, we'll never be free from this tyrant, right? So Usopp goes, and even Vivi had mentioned right before that to Usopp, maybe they need some help. We got to get up there. What's going on? And maybe Wapol went up there. They don't know what's going on. They have no idea if there's this huge battle ensuing up there, or if even Luffy made it up there. And Usopp's like, don't worry about it, Vivi. It'll be fine. Have some faith in your friends. And then Zoro and she's like, oh, thanks for calming me down. And then Zoro calls him out on his bullshit, and Zoro's just like, you're just scared, aren't you? You heard that there's giant bear-like rabbits, and that there's, and you're just scared, And so Usopp's like, no, that's not at all. His usual type of, it's just his personality trait. He's kind of nervous and afraid of everything. But he does rise to the occasion, or has in the past when need be. So he goes and offers, in a gesture of kindness and faith, he goes and offers to carry Dalton. He says, here, get on my back, carry me. I'll take you up there. And that's how that part leaves off. And we then go back up to the fight up there, and up at the top. And at some point they had said, I'm never going to let you, take down the flag from this castle, Dr. Hiruluk's flag. This is his, his like memorial. And so we see that Wapol House over there has blasted the flag off, because we can see. And Luffy can tell it means something to Chopper, because as he sees it go down and he sees the look on Chopper's face, he's like, Chopper, that flag. And then, there's just kind of like this inquisitive look on his face, so you can tell that he knows that means something to him. Just like Luffy's straw hat means something to him, and it's his treasure. This is something that we can see, and we know, of course, from the flashback, Luffy doesn't know, but that Chopper treasures, because of Dr. Hiruluk and how he had died and everything else, and what he believed for and stood for, and being Chopper's only friend and this and that. So we wind up getting, so Chopper's pissed, right? Chopper goes, and he's just like, he looks like he's going to start charging towards them. Before this happens, he goes, and Wapol, who had ingested Chess and Kuromarimo, he goes and he's just like, and now see the ultimate munch factory power. And the door to the house, which is actually his body, goes and opens up. And all of a sudden, it's Chessmarimo comes out. And it's this combination, this amalgamation of the two. They get these strapped-looking suspender-bolted things onto each other. And you're thinking, why? What the hell did he do to them, And then Sanji's like, Sanji goes, he's just on his back, or on his shoulders. So they didn't actually merge. They just went and kind of hung out together. And Sanji's like, what is this, a joke? And then Luffy's like, that's cool. And Kureha even says, she goes, listen, these people would have, don't be a fool. Don't underestimate their power. If these people were that weak, the villagers would have rose up and taken the kingdom back a while ago, okay? So they may be goofy with some of the things they do, but don't mistake them for being weaklings. But anyway, but like I said, back to Chopper. He's upset because this flag has been taken down, and Chopper goes and he goes to come right at him. And he says, and he kind of remembers Dr. Hiruluk and what his whole deal was about saving people and saving the kingdom. And he goes and he gives one last-ditch effort. And he's like, listen, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to harm you. But you have to leave this island and never come back. You have to leave this kingdom and never come back. And, of course, we know that Wapol's not going to do it. He's an ignorant ass anyway. But even Kureha's like, what are you doing? Don't give him a chance. But that's just how Chopper is. That's in his nature. It's not in his nature. He's a doctor, so it's not in his nature to harm people unless, of course, he's pushed to that, to that end. So we wind up seeing Chopper, as he gets closer to them or wherever, we wind up seeing Chopper just get nailed, by this Kuromarimo. And just a big wham, and there's smoke everywhere, and Chopper gets nailed, and Kureha's like, Chopper, so it sometimes is hard to tell, and you can read over and over again and depict exactly what happens in the manga with some of the scenes. As I get caught up in the anime, that'll help too, but I'm thinking of doing like block reviews of the animes, as well until I get caught up with that. So, but it's definitely neat because at the end of it, the chapter ends shortly after that. We wind up seeing, because Luffy's been absent for a couple of minutes now, we wind up seeing up at the top of the castle where the flag originally was, we get this cool looking panel of Luffy standing there like Iron Man or something, just all stoic, and he's got the flag, he's put it back up, and he's like, hey, you, and he goes and he gives this thing about how you guys aren't, you're not pirates. He obviously found out that they were just pretending to be pirates. He's like, you were just pretending to be pirates. You don't know what it means and the true meaning of a pirate, so he hoists the flag back up, and what it is it's basically, number one, it's an ode to Chopper and what was important to him, and he's showing him that, hey, listen, it means something to me, too. If it means something to you, brother, it means something to me. So it was really kind of cool, and like I said, a really nice gesture. And ultimately, I think it was kind of like a symbol of like, you know what? you're not even good enough to be a pirate, okay? And people consider pirates these like despicable, whatever, type of people that rob and steal and everything. Luffy's saying, listen, brother, you can't even be a pirate. You were trying to be a pretender, and you're a piece of garbage, and you're certainly not a king. We've already discussed that, and that's kind of what Luffy's getting at. So the chapter question is what do you think about what Luffy did? Now, we've seen him do several nice things like this, but Chopper really, at this point means nothing to him. Yes, he wants him to join him, so maybe that's why he's doing this, but or maybe it's just one of those things where Chopper's a creature. Luffy likes to help, different creatures out, and as we've seen, with the Lopins, and which is several other, things during the course of, our journey so far. But what do you think of Luffy's act of kindness? Was it a kind act, or was it really ultimately just Luffy playing his hand properly because he wants to have Chopper join his crew and be a doctor, be the doctor for his ship? So leave your answers to that question, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that I deserve it. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thank you, brothers and sisters, for watching, liking, commenting, rating, subscribing, sharing, and everything that you do to make this possible. Here's a little throwback picture I did quite some time ago of old Gin